On to something that makes other people mad.
Do we have to? Do we have to talk about this?
Yes.
It never stops because every time we talked about it on Monday. We talked about Lane on Monday. And I didn't put Lane on this thumbnail. I didn't advertise this as a Lane Kiffin show, but like, how do you not talk about the biggest story that continues to be in college football? And we will get to games and stuff here in a few minutes. But Lane Kiffin still has not made up his mind, I don't think, or at least has not let everyone know what he is doing. There were reports earlier in the week that an ultimatum was given by Ole Miss. He denies that. Lane, somebody commented on a video. Well, Lane said there was no ultimatum. Lane says a lot of things. We can all agree on that. I do think that it's very likely that if it wasn't an ultimatum, that it was a very strong suggestion from Ole Miss. Like, we can fight about word choice if we really want to, but visited Gainesville, visited Baton Rouge, family visited different places. My feeling is that a lot of that gets leaked by Lane because he likes the attention. So I don't know how this thing ends, but I'll go to Cole first on it.
Look, I'll be completely real. I don't think Lane's made up his mind. I don't. And you can say, well, the message boards are saying this. Great. That's cool. Hey, well, Twitter's telling me this. That's cool. I get a message every single hour of every single day of somebody saying, here's what they're saying about Lane Kiffin. Until Chris Lowe or until Nakos or until Matt Zentz reports it, I'm not buying into it whatsoever. I'm just not. Because if Lane's playing this game and he's going to continue to play it for as long as he possibly can. Now, here's where I will fight back. I don't think ultimatum is the right word to use. I do think deadline is the word to use. It's like when you're going to asking a girl to go with you to prom. Like, hey, listen, I really want to take you, Betty Sue. I think that you were the prettiest girl in town, and I would love nothing more than to dance the night away. But I also am a popular guy, and I do not want to end up going steady and going solo and being shafted to date to the prom. So I got to know, hey, are you going to go to my prom, or are you going to go with Timmy over there? Like, and Timmy is LSU. Or are you going to go with Bobby Jane, and Bobby Jane is Florida? Like, at some point, you got to reach the limit. And I respect that from the standpoint of Ole Miss because Ole Miss has turned the tide as a program. They view themselves as a more prominent program over the last 10 years because of what Lane has been able to accomplish, but also what they have been able to put out as a product that is enticing to other coaches. And the last thing that you can do if you're Keith Carter, who apparently, if you remember the Pat McAfee show, Lane said he was doing hot yoga with him at like 6 a.m. that day. So like the relationship seems to be pretty at least decent at this point because or Keith Carter's really selling his soul to guarantee that Lane sticks around. But regardless, Keith Carter's got to do what's best for Ole Miss because he's not going anywhere. And they want to land a premier name. So if a premier name is looking at other schools, they got to make sure that there's a job available for Ole Miss. When it comes to the standpoint, I don't think that there's a wrong answer when it comes to Lane. There isn't, because there's 3 ways to look at it. What is the legacy that Lane wants to be remembered for? And the other thing that you got to remind yourself of, and I've gotten in arguments with people about this nonstop. Whatever Lane thinks is the best job is the best job. I think LSU is the best job in the country when run properly in college football. I'm sure that TJ believes that Florida, when it is run properly by the right coach, is the top 10 job. I'm sure that Tom looks at a program like Ole Miss and says how Lane Kiffin has been able to turn the tide. It ends up becoming a more prominent job in college football. TJ's opinion, Tom's opinion, my opinion, doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. Anybody on television's opinion does not matter. You can say that Alabama is the worst job in the world, but if Kalen DeBoer thinks it's the best job, it's the only one that matters. And so for Lane, whatever job he thinks is the best fit for him is the best job available for Lane Kiffin. End of story. I don't want to hear people say, well, look at what LSU has. Well, look at what Florida. It doesn't matter because he didn't pick you. He picked them. And that is what he thinks is the best job. But you got to look at legacy. And that's probably something that I think is really important when it comes to Lane because how his story has been completely rewritten. Do you want to be remembered for winning national titles? Do you want to be remembered for winning at the highest level and having number 1 teams in the country? Okay, then LSU is probably where you need to go. Is family a big time deal to you to where you believe that where your wife went to school, where your father-in-law went to school, your idol is Steve Spurrier, and you want to continue that legacy and bring back a national program to the highest prominence, then Florida is probably the best place for you. If you want to have Vaught Hemingway Stadium named Kiffin Field at Vaught, every building in Oxford be named after you in some capacity, street names, baby names, all of that be named after you, and a statue be built outside the stadium, then don't miss the place that you need to go. But I don't think that there is a wrong answer whatsoever. There just isn't. It just is what is the best fit for Lane. And I think that that's really the challenging part. because he's got it good at Ole Miss. He has it incredible at Ole Miss at this point. Like literally everything that he has wanted, he has been given. And what he is going to be given if he signs his contract is through the roof. But there's also the opportunity to be able to say, I'm at the best school in the nation. I'm at one of the most prolific schools to where my dad had ties to, my wife has ties to. There's not a wrong answer. But at some point, the charade has got to come to an end because for Florida and for LSU, this is the problem when it comes to the college football calendar schedule. They have got to be able to make moves. They have early signing period. They got to get kids knowing that they have a head coach waiting in the wings. They have the transfer portal opening on up. There are going to be some kids that look at this program and say, I would love to stick around, but I don't know who the coach is. I haven't had a conversation with him. I don't know if I'm a good fit for his system. So I got to go play elsewhere. They have to worry about recruiting. They have to worry about their coaching staffs. They got to worry about bowl games even for some of these kids. So it's like all these things that are going on. The schedule is not making this any easier for Lane. But there is a timeline. The timeline has got to be met. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all pans out leading into the last few hours before the Egg Bowl. Because it's also really interesting, boys, Lane has an opportunity to go into the Egg Bowl with no distractions and have the first 11-win season in program history in the regular season. And they punch their ticket to the playoff. But you know what's going to be the problem? If this has not been resolved and they haven't had a conversation, then not only is that a distraction for a team that has nothing to lose while trying to earn bowl eligibility in Mississippi State, but at the same time, you still don't have an answer, and people are going to be wondering, well, now we're waiting to figure out, you just won 11 games. Are you sticking around to go to the playoff? Like, you could get a first-round bye. Are you sticking around for that? No? Okay, cool. So there's a reason why the timeline has been put into motion. I believe that there is going to be an answer on some capacity before Thursday night. Before Thanksgiving, we will know where Lane Kiffin is coaching next year.
Hey, I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are on the Sleeper app. We appreciate all of their support this football season. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. We will play the more or less game on Wednesday on the Power 2 live here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and don't miss it. Make sure that you've already deposited and you're already good to go. While you're doing holiday shopping for everybody else, make sure you're on the Sleeper app taking care of yourself too. Check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. We appreciate Sleeper for their support.
I think some big factors in this. It's clear this is starting to affect the team. And you're seeing players speak out on social media, repost things or like things. And as much as Lane claims, I'm not on social media, I'm away from these things. Like he's trolling, he's doing whatever. His players are seeing all of this. And if I'm a member of that team, I'm extremely frustrated considering the success that Ole Miss has had this year on the field, the things that are in front of them potentially in the college football playoff. So there's that factor. And it's also Lane Kiffin has the opportunity to be selfish here because he is the belle of the ball. I think some really big factors for him in this entire situation are his family and his sobriety. It's something he's spoken about for a long time. There are pictures that came up of him of when he first got to Ole Miss and he was not in good health, and he has changed his life, it seems like. So do you want to go to Florida and be the next Steve Spurrier, or do you want to be the first Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, the old Kobe Bryant adage? Do you want to be the next Michael Jordan or the first Kobe Bryant? Do you want to go to LSU and pretty much have 3 years to win a national title, or they're going to kick you to the curb again and you're going to have to move and you're going to uproot your family, all that sort of stuff? Or are you cool sitting tight in what is supposed to be a beautiful college town that clearly loves you and has embraced you and has been the place where you got your life right, where you got everything in your world on track? I think that's something that, knowing plenty of people in my life who've managed to achieve sobriety for long periods of time, being around the appropriate support system is very important. And I think he has his faith, he has his family, he has Oxford, he has the Ole Miss community, he has football. He's built something great there. And I've said it before, he could probably stay at Ole Miss for another 10 years if he says I'm in. And boy, imagine the shot in the arm that he would give to his team if sometime before Thanksgiving, to the point that Cole said, he says, I'm staying, and it's Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not going anywhere. Boy, you could really see some special things from Ole Miss for the remainder of this season and beyond. So, but again, Lane knows he's in control. and he's going to do what's best for him and his family. I think that's why they tagged along, obviously, for these trips to Gainesville and Baton Rouge to kind of scout out the area and see what they think of it. But it means a lot to him. So I hope for the sake of his players and what Ole Miss has accomplished on the field this year, he makes his decision soon, because I really don't think it's fair to the players and to his staff.
I will say people are like arguing and going and say, oh, well, he's got to be able to, his family's going out to Gainesville and his wife's going out to Baton Rouge. And, it's a done deal at that point. Guys, number one, this is a family decision. It was a family decision. And his daughter told him, don't take the Auburn job because I'm happy with where you are now, which is why Landry is the reason Lane Kiffin is still coaching in Oxford. Like, that's just it. This is a family decision. But also, you have to remind yourself, if it's going to be a family decision, the family has to be on board with Baton Rouge. The family's got to be on board with Gainesville. They got to be comfortable with looking at Knox for high schools. They got to be comfortable looking at places to live and location. So, it's like, oh, that's a done deal. No, you'd be stupid not to bring your family if you were to make a cross-country move. Like, if I were to get a job out in Nashville tomorrow, Kirsten would have to at least be able to see. I know, I would love to go to Nashville and live there with you, buddy. I really would. But Kirsten would have to see it. She would have to know that this is where we're going to be and that it's comfortable for her. Because if I can just make the same amount of money in Texas and she doesn't like that, guess what we're doing? So naturally, that had to be a decision. And I got people saying, oh, well, he's getting his kid involved and stuff like that. He's kind of has to. That's just the bottom line, guys.
We've done this a couple of times, but if you had to predict it today, what you saying, boys?
I'm going to say staying, but I don't feel very confident in that.
Florida.
Yeah, I'm still on UF. I think there's a chance. I think staying is what I would pick second, but I'm leaning UF still.
I can tell you, I have heard that the offer that Lane Kiffin has been made by from Baton Rouge. It would be the dumbest thing if you're only in this for money and resources to turn it down.
Yes.
But I do not think he is going to take the LSU job.
I have heard from Florida folks that they're aware that the LSU offer is bigger financially and resource-wise. Not that they're like
so stupid.
Yeah, not that it's $20 million or something crazy, but it is absurdly high. But I still think it's Florida.
Again, if it's a money thing, it is LSU, and it's not even particularly close.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear anybody argue with me on this one. If you've heard some of the numbers that we're hearing,